of us, the majority of our lives, we've been sold on the benefits of drinking milk. As infants, we were nourished by it. For some of us, it may have been our mother's milk. For others, it was probably soy milk or cow's milk formula. It helped us grow and develop until we were able to eat a more diverse diet. As children, it was included on our lunch trays every day in a small pint-sized carton, and we were probably told not to leave the table until we drank all of our milk. As adolescents, we may have been inundated with ads on TV and in magazines with our favorite celebrities sporting a milk mustache. Milk does a body good, right? By the time we are adults, milk is such a common staple in our diets that we don't even realize how much we consume on a daily basis. We put it in our coffee, we pour it over our cereal. If we don't drink it, we're probably eating cheese or ice cream or yogurt, things that are supposedly good for us. So milk is really part of our culture. Even our current government guidelines recommend that we drink 3 glasses of milk every single day. The thought of eliminating milk from your diet may challenge you to think outside the norms you've been conditioned with all your life, but it may improve your health to do so. Milk actually isn't the superfood it's all cracked up to be. In fact, it may cause many serious illnesses and can lead to health complications that may shorten your life. The milk we drink today is a far cry from the milk most of our grandparents grew up consuming. There's a tremendous amount of processing that occurs to produce and manufacture surpluses to feed the masses. Cows today produce up to 50,000 pounds of milk per year. The milk that our grandparents drank from cows that were producing at that point in time, they were only producing 2,000 pounds per year. So there's a pretty significant difference in that amount. This increase in production is achieved by the use of drugs, antibiotics, hormones, forced feeding, and specialized breeding plans. So literally, we're altering and engineering cows for our own purposes. I want to talk a little bit about something that we use to increase cows' production of milk, which is called bovine growth hormone. You may have heard it as RBGH or RBST, which is a genetically engineered drug that stimulates milk production in cows. RGBH is manufactured by companies like Monsanto, Upjohn, Eli Lilly, an American scientific company. All 5 companies have stated that there is no impact to the animal's milk or meat when RBGH is used. Employing scientific common sense would lead you to believe that it only makes sense that hormones would be adjusted by humans from the products of cows injected with the hormone. There have been no long-term studies on the effects of RBGH on us. However, safety concerns have motivated 28 countries, including Japan, Canada, Australia, and all of Europe to ban the use of the hormone. Dr. Robert Kretian notes a related problem is that the use of BGH causes a marked increase, which about 50 to 70% in mastitis in cows. This then requires antibiotic therapy, and the residue of the antibiotics appear in the milk. It seems that the public is uneasy about this product. In one survey, 43% felt that growth hormone-treated milk represented a health risk. Additionally, because of the incidence of mastitis and infection in dairy farm cows, other toxins can be found in milk. The USDA allows milk to contain from 1 to 1.5 milliliters per 1 to 1.5 million white blood cells per milliliter. Well, what are white blood cells? It's pus. So also out of 82 drugs that are used on dairy cows, only 4 are being tested for in the milk that makes its way to grocery stores and onto our tables. So what this means is you're likely consuming a side of blood, pus, hormones, and antibiotics with your morning bowl of cereal. To put it bluntly, milk is not a pure substance rather than a chemical, biological, and bacterial cocktail. It's scary to think that this is the food that we've been told is healthy for us our entire lives. There are many health problems that have been related to milk consumption. One study published in the British Medical Journal followed more than 100,000 people in Sweden over a period of 20 to 30 years. The results found that subjects who consumed milk regularly were more likely to die from heart disease, cancer, and among the women in the study, more of them suffered overall fractures, including hip fractures. Across all countries, populations that consume more dairy have higher rates of multiple sclerosis, and dairy protein has actually been shown to promote increased cholesterol levels, atherosclerosis, and increased levels of aging and shortened lifespan. These consequences are due to oxidative stress damage, chronic inflammation, decreased immune response, and gene transcriptional changes, so it could actually change your genes. This was all in an article from Hannah Nichols published in the Medical News Today. Dairy may also cause other problems like weight gain, constipation, irritable bowel syndrome, bloating, gas, diarrhea, just things that are really uncomfortable and kind of gross. Allergies, eczema, acne, it can all be attributed to milk. Dr. Mark Hyman shares that in interventional animal experience in human studies, dairy protein has been shown to increase a chemical in our bodies known as insulin growth factor 1. Increased levels of this chemical in our bodies has been implicated in several cancers. In the Swedish study that I just talked about, that was in the British Medical Journal, higher dairy intake was linked to increased cancer, or risk of prostate cancer, and higher risk of ovarian cancer. Dr. Kratian shows more proof of milk as a cause of cancer. There was a large prospective study from Norway that was reported in the British Journal of Cancer. It followed almost 16,000 individuals for 11 and a half years. For most of the cancers that they did the study on, they found that there was no association between cancerous tumors and milk ingestion. However, in lymphoma, there was a strong positive association. If subjects drank 2 glasses or more daily, or the equivalent in dairy products, the odds were 3.4 times greater in those persons drinking less than 1 glass of developing lymphoma. Not only can milk cause cancer, but contradictory to what we think we know, it also contributes to weak bones and osteoporosis. Dr. Amy Lanow, Nutrition Director for the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine in Washington, states, the countries with the highest rates of osteoporosis are the ones where people drink the most milk and have the most calcium in their diets. The connection between calcium consumption and bone health is actually very weak, and the connection between dairy consumption and bone health is almost non-existent. So this is a doctor that's telling us this. Dr. Thomas Campbell cites about the large observational cohort study, also the same study that I talked about, done in Sweden. It looked at many different health factors. It was found that women consuming more than 3 glasses of milk a day had almost twice the mortality over 20 years compared to those women consuming less than 1 glass a day. In addition, the high milk drinkers did not have improved bone health. In fact, they had more fractures, particularly hip fractures. Victoria Goldschmidt says this is because milk has a positive renal acid load, or PRAL, which triggers a protective biological reaction to neutralize all the damaging acidic protein before it reaches the kidneys. So basically what happens is the body sacrifices calcium from the bones so that it can neutralize the acids in the milk to make it safe to travel through your urinary tract and your kidneys. So even though milk contains calcium, it ends up sapping your bones of all of those minerals anyways. There's also a relationship between milk consumption and type 1 diabetes. Several studies have been done in young children that are at risk for developing type 1 diabetes that show there's a link between milk consumption and development of the disease. Cow's milk protein may play a role in triggering type 1 diabetes through a process called molecular mimicry. Goldberg, Volta, and Must are doctors, and they've reported on a recommendation made in 1994 by the American Academy of Pediatrics after modification of infant feeding guidelines for those at risk of developing type 1 diabetes. Families with a strong history of type 1 diabetes were strongly encouraged to avoid feeding commercially available cow's milk formula to infants. According to Dr. Kratian, you may be surprised to learn that most human beings that live on planet Earth today do not drink or use cow's milk. Further, most of them can't drink milk because it makes them ill. Many people experience problems digesting milk. An article published by Drs. Jean Folberg, Sarah Folta, and Aviva Must state that lactose intolerance is the inability to completely digest lactose, which is the sugar in milk. In the small intestine, the enzyme lactase splits lactose into 2 simple sugars, which is glucose and galactose. If insufficient lactase is produced and lactose is not just digested, it basically travels to the large intestine where it's fermented by bacteria into organic acids and gas. This gas, along with the osmotic effect of unabsorbed lactose in water, is responsible for the symptoms of lactose intolerance, which can include abdominal fullness, cramps, diarrhea, things like that. As infants, it's really interesting. We possess the enzymes necessary to metabolize lactose, but by age 3 or 4, that ability and the enzymes needed diminish. It is estimated as many as half of all adults across the world lack these enzymes and therefore are lactose intolerant. Dr. Kratian says clearly all infants must drink milk. The fact that so many adults cannot seems to be related to the tendency for nature to abandon mechanisms that are not needed. Doesn't it make sense that Mother Nature might be telling us something that we can't digest this past infancy? So consider this. We're the only mammal that consumes milk past infancy. Even greater than that, we are the only mammal that consumes the milk of another mammal. Of course, you probably would never ask yourself, well, why do I drink cow's milk? We wouldn't drink milk from horses, or from cats, or from dogs, or rats. But why not? We drink the milk of a cow. So it's basically kind of the same thing, right? Every species of mammal provides milk for its young for a short window of time after birth until weaning, and that milk is specifically tailored to meet the requirements of the species developing infant. Dr. Kratian points out that cow's milk has 3 to 4 times more protein than human milk. It has 5 to 7 times the mineral content, which is great for calves, as they need these nutrients for massive skeletal growth and huge muscle groups. In other words, cow's milk provides everything you need to grow big and strong if you're a cow, right? If you're a calf. However, there's a marked deficiency in essential fatty acids compared to human breast milk. Human breast milk has 6 to 10 times as much of the essential fatty acids, especially linoleic acid, which is crucial for brain development and neuromuscular control in human infants. We definitely have greater use for our brains than we do brawn. So the point is, cow's milk is for calves, not for humans. Human milk is for humans. I hope that all these facts have not scared you, but have caused you to think twice about consuming milk as a regular part of your diet. I've discussed the health problems associated and some common sense ideas of why it isn't logical for us to keep drinking cow's milk. I believe there's enough proof to warrant a change and motivate you to eliminate milk from your diet to improve your overall health and help you live a longer life. Thank you.
Since we gotta go, I was thinking that you guys can pan on us and then we leave.
Okay,
We have the door
that
open.
would work.
I don't remember which button to push.